Hello again, everyone. Andy Schwab here with your Farm and Ranch News as we had the opportunity to come to Cody to talk with DTN livestock analyst Shaylee Stewart. And Shaylee, Friday we saw that cattle on feed report come out. Two big reports, cattle on feed report, the USDA biannual inventory report also. We'll start there. And a lot of folks were looking at that to see if the herd rebuild is going to be starting happening. Looks like beef heifer placements weren't quite as high as they were thinking it would be.
Andy, I think that you're exactly right. You nailed that report. We saw that the both U.S. cow herd and the beef replacement heifers were down about 2%. And so what that tells me is that producers don't have the comfortability in seeing either high enough prices for a long enough duration or time or the secureness of feed to start that build back yet. Now, once we progress in the market cycle and maybe get another year or two under our belt of these stronger, higher, more bullish prices, maybe that can be what we see in the report. But this year, it just simply told us on the mid-annual report in last week that we haven't seen heifers begin to be rebuilt yet.
Certainly could offer a little bit of optimism for the next 6 months for some of those cow-calf guys. Also, we saw that cattle on feed report come out on Friday. Talked about the placements during the month of June being 6% higher than most pre-report estimates had anticipated, and 3% above year-ago levels. What's that going to mean for the markets today, you think?
Honestly, as we approach the new week and traders and cattlemen alike get to digest that report and really dive into its content, I think that there's going to be a lot of hesitancy because, like you said, it was about 3% higher than a year ago. But then once you couple that with the sheer fact that last month's report was 5% higher, we have some things that we need to talk about. Number one, that should indicate that we should have a significant drop-off in placements potentially next month or the following month, or that the USDA, I wouldn't want their job in having to articulate these numbers that maybe there's some just the numbers aren't quite jiving because we do have a smaller cow herd. We know that our feeder cattle imports from Mexico especially are up significantly higher than what they were a year ago, but at some point we should see a significant decrease in placements. And so if that comes, then we can take this data and move forward. If that doesn't come, if that data doesn't present itself in the next month or two, then some questions should be raised.
Certainly will be interesting to see. And come back with us shortly as we'll talk a little bit about the Northern Livestock video auction kicking off today.
We asked Montana farmer Walt Sales about the challenges of mental health in agriculture.
Another drought. There always is. There's always going to be another something. I grew up in a generation of you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. But it's become evident is what do you do if you can't even find those bootstraps? If you need to talk to somebody, go to beyondtheweather.com for free counseling for Montana ag producers.
Welcome back, friends, to your Ag News and your markets. Well, it's certainly going to be a busy week here for all of us at Northern Ag Network. Of course, today is the kickoff to the Northern Livestock's video market as they're going to have their biggest video auction ever with over 170,000 head of cattle up for auction through the next 4 days. We'll be covering that summertime classic sale intently, so stay tuned for more of those updates throughout the week. For me personally, this is going to be my kickoff week to help the youth of Wyoming and Montana raise as much money as possible for their fair project, as we'll be back in my hometown of Powell this Saturday to help with the Park County Junior Livestock Sale, and then a week from Friday, I'll be in Harleton for the Wheatland County Junior Livestock Sale. Now, certainly stay tuned to our events calendar at northernag.net for more of those events coming up. Well, speaking of other events, we do have to talk about the cattle markets, and this week it could be interesting. Of course, that is due to the latest cattle on feed report released on Friday, which certainly could help out the feeders, or more so the packers this week, as they do have that bearish cattle on feed report to help out their case. Now, for last week's auctions, Belle Fourche Livestock had a nice test of coal cows. The bulls do continue to pay higher averages, as some barns are inching closer and closer to that $1.50 per pound mark. Well, also the coal cows did have no problem getting into that $1.10 for most of the cases. And sticking in the northwest corner of the Mount Rushmore state, Newell Sheepyards was able to add a little bit to their coal ewe market, as the feeder lambs did not quite see the same demand. Similarly, we were back and forth on the grain markets last week as the fighting continues to intensify in the Russia-Ukraine war, adding uncertainty to the global market perspective. Well, that's all for Ag News and Markets. I'm Andy Schwab. Have a great rest of your day.